Hey, what's up everybody, this is Muth24, and as the comments in my last update video indicated, most people wanted to see a review of Evangelion 2.22, You Cannot Advance, so that's what I'm going to be doing today, just doing a review of my thoughts on the film and the DVD presentation here. As you'll notice with the case here, I don't know how well you can see because of the fact that my walls are red, so it might throw the color off a little bit, but the casing is orange. And you got some gray text up here about all the awards that the film's won and everything, and then some black text on the front here. And the text on the front, with where it says Evangelion 2.22, it does pop out a little bit. You can see kind of with the glare there. And also the casing here is not this standard cardboard style. It's a little bit more plasticky and a little bit more durable that way. And if you flip it open, you have the image of Ava Unit 2 with the prog knife there. It's pretty cool. Flip it to the side, you've got Evangelion 2.22, and then you've got all the, Funimation logos and everything on the bottom there. And then on the back, you have Asuka in her plug suit, and then a bunch of images from the film, as well as a description of it, some praise for it, and then the list of all the special features on both discs. If I slide the slipcover off, there's a different image underneath, and that is Mari. Same text, just in a different color there. Flip it on the back, same image, just different background color and stuff. Pop this open. You have the first disc in this burgundy red color, and the second disc in a gray color. And from what I understand, they were trying to do a color scheme that was similar to that of Unit 2. Take the art booklet out here a second and pop the second disc out just so I can show you guys what the art on the back of the case is. But you can see there is a sketch image of Unit 1 when he's going into Berserk mode or Awakening mode, and this was actually one of the posters they used when the film first came out in theaters in Japan, and to be honest, I thought it was one of the coolest pieces of promotional art that they had for the film, and I was really glad they included that as the background for the disc case. Looking through the art booklet, it's pretty simple on the front there, same style as what they did with the DVD case overall. Got an introduction and what Rebuild is all about, similar to what they did on the 1.0 and 1.11 releases. Got some images of the digital animation process there. Again, more about animating it and some bits about major points from the film there. And then you've got a little bio on each of the pilots and the main characters. You've got some info on Gendo, the team at Nerve, Shinji's classmates, same image as you have on the back there in the middle of Asuka, info on the Evangelions, info on the angels, and there are quite a few angels in this film. Some keywords for people who maybe aren't so familiar with the Evangelion mythology or haven't watched the original series in quite a few years and are just coming back to it with the films. It's more about the storyboards and visuals, the digital animation process again. And finally, we've got an image of Mari, similar to what is on the front, just different background color. And then there's the back of the art booklet. So I guess before I get into the what I think about the film itself, I'll go over the special features here real quick. On Disc 1, you have a U.S. cast commentary, which, to be honest, sometimes I don't like those because it feels like they're just recycling what the Japanese staff would have said. But with this, they did a similar thing as to what they did on the Conqueror of Shambhala DVD. And that is that they invite the cast members to come in and talk about their experience with Evangelion. And a lot of the voice actors in this film are the same ones who did the characters back in the day when this, ADV was releasing the series in the late 90s with End of Evangelion, the original series, Death and Rebirth, etc. So a lot of the people who you hear talk in this commentary have been with Evangelion for quite some time. There are a few new people, and it's interesting to hear, what their thoughts are on the story and everything. And a couple of them haven't seen the original series deliberately because they didn't, want to have it make a major impact on how they portray the character. But hear Spike Spencer and Tiffany Grant and others talk about their involvement with it, what they like and dislike about it, where they'd like to see, the series go, the merchandising go from here. It was just kind of interesting. It felt a little bit more loose, a little bit more genuine, I guess, when they're talking about it, and not so forced about, well, here's what we did here, and yada yada. It's just, it feels a lot more relaxed, and I personally prefer it to be that way than to have it where they're just recycling the same thing over and over. But that's just me. If you're not into that sort of a commentary, this, you might not be too keen on that. There are some trailers for other Funimation movies and series on here. There's one for Summer Wars, one for Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, one for Darker Than Black, so pretty much the standard thing there. Disc 2 has something called Rebuild of Evangelion 2.02, which is basically a look at the animation process, layering all the different stuff on top of each other. You got the basic model, and then adding the color into it, and then adding the shading and the backgrounds and stuff, until you get to the final scene itself, which is kind of cool to see. There's no actual commentary to go over top of that, but I think they did it well enough, just layering over the music and everything. And it's pretty quick pace that it keeps it interesting and shows a bunch of different scenes from the film. There are the original trailers, the TV spots, and the train channel spots for the film when it was coming out in Japan, both in theaters and on DVD and Blu-ray. And I really like the whole process that they had, or I guess the whole style of advertising for the film that they had in Japan. So there's some pretty cool trailers that you can check out there. They also have some omitted scenes, which unfortunately are not all completely animated. Most of them are just the sketches and early renders of the scenes, and then they add the dialogue and the subtitles on the bottom, so you can check out what would have been, but they never actually went ahead and completely animated all of those scenes. But they are kind of cool to see what might have been. And then there's also a remix scene, which, if I remember correctly, it's just the last major scene of the film, which I won't spoil for anybody if you haven't seen it, but when they're singing the Give Me Wings song, when normally you would have the little kids singing it in like choir style singing, in this one I think it's just some other artist that they have sing by herself. So basically the same scene, just a different version of the song layered over it. So that's all the special features that you get in here. Pretty impressive, I think. I definitely like how a lot of anime distributors stateside are including more special features nowadays, because back in the day you basically got nothing as far as special features are concerned. You just got the film, DVD menu, and that was about it. Some of them didn't even include audio options. So I am glad to see that companies like Funimation and some of the other ones are definitely going ahead and throwing in more special features like that. As for the film itself, I'm a big Evangelion fanboy. So when I heard they were going to be remaking or creating a sequel, kind of in the same thing there with the new films, I admittedly was a bit skeptical. And having seen 1.01, I really did like it a lot. I love the animation style with these films. But at the same time, 1.01 was very much a straightforward reinterpretation of the series. There's a couple differences here and there, but pretty much it was episodes 1 through 6. I guess slimmed down a little bit to make it fit into the hour-and-a-half time frame of the first film. And while it was cool to look at and everything, it didn't really bring a whole lot new to the table. Whereas 2.22, there's enough there that's familiar to fans of the series, but it's going to throw quite a few curveballs at people, and the last third of the film is just mind-blowing. I have honestly no idea where the film's series is going to go from here, because it pretty much blew every previous outcome out of the water. The end of Evangelion scenario is pretty much out. Even the manga stuff, I don't think it's going to quite follow that storyline, and I imagine it's probably not going to follow the same storyline that the original series did. So where it's going to go from here is, I honestly have no idea. But also you get some curveballs with how the characters are portrayed, and you'll notice that some of them are significantly different than they were in the original series. And that's a very interesting way to take to it. Like, Shinji and Rei have this more of a sibling dichotomy to them, whereas Asuka is less bratty, I feel, than in the original series. Which is also, there's also the change of her name and everything, but also there's the characters she interacts with. It's very interesting to see how different that is. But outside of that, I definitely felt like the film had a little bit lighter atmosphere than 1.01 did. You definitely have more of a focus on the character development than in the previous film, and it still does maintain some of the psychological and religious elements of the series in the film, although they don't necessarily come into play until a little bit later on. But overall, out of the 4 Evangelion films that there are, being 1.01 or 1.11, whichever one you want to consider there, 2.22, End of Evangelion, and Death and Rebirth, I'd have to say without question that 2.22 is the best of those 4 films. I can't necessarily say that I like Rebuild better than the original series yet, simply because it isn't finished, and there's really no way that you can replace the original series, but I definitely like where these films are going, and I'm super excited to see 3.0 and then the final film when they come out sometime in the near future. So that's pretty much it, guys. Leave me your thoughts on the film in the comment section below if you want to, and with that, I will see you guys next time.